Hallie, is Hallie the name you want to use for this video? Just checking.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, sounds cool.
Just-
My recording is starting. For context to the person who is watching this video, our session is only set to be 30 minutes, so we are getting started 15 minutes early, but I wanted to use the time to show you some Discord integrations that are useful, more specifically, Whiteboard. I've already gotten Hallie to agree to it, and we're going to be using Whiteboard today just to be kind of collaborative. So Hallie, can you just make sure for me that you can open up that Whiteboard?
Yep, pulling it up right now.
Cool. It'll be great if you're able to add things as well. But that is up to you.
Yep. I can.
Cool. So, I personally run almost all of my mentoring through Discord. Sometimes I run it through Google Meets if I'm wanting to feel a little bit more professional. But at the end of the day, I started out on Discord, and it's the thing I am the most comfortable mentoring on. There are some interesting things to consider about Discord, however. I would be very clear that if you are doing DMs, things might get lost. So it's always good to go through and have backup emails or backup pings or things like that. I think I got to the point where I had like 12 mentoring sessions a week before it started breaking down, being unable to keep track in DMs. I solved it with the use of a mentee file, but I'm not trying to scare you off. Using Discord as a platform for mentoring is awesome. It's cheap because it's free unless you're paying for Nitro Premium. It's accessible. They don't need a paid account or anything. And you're not dealing with typically too weird of Wi-Fi issues like with Zoom or Google Meets. Additionally, Zoom has that annoying new cap. I realized that the last session that I just recorded, Liam's session, I was using so a lot. I'm gonna try to not do that this time. But Hallie, before we get going, how are you feeling this morning? You ready?
Yep, I am ready.
Cool. So I saw that you outlined just top 2 goals. That's totally fine. The objective that I wanted to start with today, because I know that we have kind of limited time, is the first thing I want to start with is I want to distinguish between your target market, what you're comparing it to right now, and breaking it down for you, because it kind of feels like you're in that stage where you don't know where to go from now, go forwards. So we'll be focusing on that. I think I've got about 3 to 5 questions prepped for the target market, and that should hopefully help you explain where you're going, and then from there, we will try to distinguish between the big problems and small problems, so big picture view, small picture view. And, I mean, yeah, does that sound like a good plan to you?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Awesome sauce. So, I'm just zooming in so they can see it. I see, Hallie, that your target market is listed as Asian with a question mark. And this might go without saying, but that is not gonna fly on a deck of paper. So, let's get into it. More specifically, you're saying Asian question mark, but Japan already has something similar. So let's deconstruct that. And Hallie, I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with the idea of demographics, psychographics, and geographics, right?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about Asian in terms of like a psychographic standpoint, a behavior graphics, or geographics? Does it have something to do?
Psychographic.
Okay, so it's here. Wait, I gotta add a caption to this because it's so perfect. There we go. All right, let's figure this out. So you're saying it's psychographic. How come? What specifically is evoking Asian for your project?
Well, recently a lot of there's been trends on social media and stuff saying wow, Asian countries are living in the year 2050, and like their innovative like standpoint is like appealing to other people in different countries, and like people are like getting into like, wow, we like Asian stuff, and like you can see like the increasing demand of stuff like that, like matcha, like um it wasn't that popular until recently, and like a lot of people and like influencers have gotten into it, and like even though they're not like demographically Asian, they're like um they're demanding the Asian products and like the Asian culture, and I think we can tap into that.
Okay. So that's a great motivation. Looking at changing market demands is one of my favorite things to see. Um, I will admit, when I was first reading through and prepping this, I thought you were going in a different direction, and I'm gonna try not to lead you because my questions were kind of prepared for that. But
Okay.
why did you choose to look at bento boxes? What specifically about bento boxes was important to you? Because I know you had some other ideas you were playing with.
Yeah. Well, I was just like comparing on like what like other like places had that like made people like happy and like they enjoyed, but like the local area around me didn't have, and I was wondering, wait, why are these like 7-Elevens around us like not as good as the ones in Japan that are way more convenient and a lot of people purchase at? And like I was looking into it, and like the 7-Elevens in different countries such as Japan like offer a lot more than just like regular old sandwiches. Like they're offering like a lot of like convenient, like they're offering the convenience and like that salary men that don't have that much time to like prep it, uh, create their like meals and stuff, like can just stop by, spend like a couple of dollars and just get out with like a whole like 3 meals that they can all they need for the day that they have ahead. And I was wondering, wait, we could do this for America too. And I was also well, the part about developing an idea was I was trying to develop an idea before I chose an event, so I wasn't really sure if this also fell under independent business plan, other than like uh, international uh, business plan. And I was wondering um, well, like I wanted to do something that I wanted to like that I like had an idea for before choosing an event, rather than choosing an event and then forcing myself to come up with an idea within that category. So, yeah, I came up with this.
Okay, first of all, you just knocked out like two questions off my list, which is awesome. So, I want to take a second. We're going to approach this in a couple different ways because you said a lot of good things, and I want to give each of them this time and space they deserve. So, first of all, you said that they're living in 2050. They're super ahead of the curve. Um, but bento is really traditional. So, what specifically about bento boxes for your idea? Why are we going back to something traditional if we're looking ahead? And there's no right or wrong answer here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all good stuff has been already invented before, and like even if it's traditional, we could innovate it into like our like futuristic like society. And even though like we call it a bento box, it doesn't have to incorporate everything that has to be traditional. Like because we're gonna mainly be selling this in uh, the American society, we're gonna want them to like um, we're gonna want food inside the boxes that they're gonna enjoy eating. So we're gonna change that, change the traditional standpoint on what's inside the bento box, and offer them something that they're gonna like want, actually.
Mm-hmm. So that's good. That helps us. The whole sold with food inside the box. That is going to help us with retail location and start point. All right, next one. Do you think you okay? First of all, do you have anything to add to this? The building on something traditional. The biggest thing I saw was all the good stuff has already been made, so there's no need to reinvent the wheel. If we're selling the food in the
Yeah.
boxes, that sort of helps us understand our retail location and our starting point. Anything else there?
No, I think we're good.
Cool. The next thing I saw that to me was important that you brought up was the ease of use and access. And I am not trying to sway your project, but I'm going to let you know what I immediately thought of when I saw Asian question mark. Especially when you're talking about food isn't staying out during travel. Um, I personally read this and I thought you were talking about the infamous Japanese work culture. So talking about how
Yeah.
I don't know the stat off the top of my head. I'm not going to make one up because that would be dishonest, but it's a whopping amount of Japanese people. I think they're called salarymen, right? Because they're just contracted.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing. It's a massive amount of salarymen every single day commute to work, and of course Japan is really well known for having a robust transit system, and I guess when I was looking through and I was reading this, I was thinking that you were appealing not to teens or not to the elderly, but I thought you were appealing to that convenience. It's cheap, it's good meal access. Maybe you pick it up at a 7-Eleven and then you can reuse it elsewhere. It's in a box because so that when you have a briefcase in one hand, you can use the other for your bento and you're able to go. Or maybe it's
Yeah.
got a strap or something and you can use it like a bag and you carry it. So I thought that you were talking about that. Do you know who you were thinking of originally? Because I see convenience, I see cheap, good meal access. You mentioned 7-Elevens. Those are all they're not luxury goods. So, who are you thinking for
Yeah.
your target market?
So like while I was developing this idea, I was also thinking about how like not a lot of Japanese people actually like buy it on a daily basis, like those self-moving packets. And I was thinking, like, even though like they're not like super like necessary and popular in Japan, like they could be demanded in America because there's this well it's not very like a proverb but like in Japan there's a story about how sushi was actually a delicacy in Japan
Mm-hmm.
until like commoners started like wanting it and saying wow this is amazing, and then now it became like a sensation and like everyone's trying to go to Japan for the sushi. And I feel like we can make that in like with our business too, like even though it like seen as um something that like you don't really need, but like if you have the extra money to spend, like you'd spend it. Because a lot of these are sold in train stations that like the Shinkansen's, right? Like the bullet trains that run in
Mm-hmm.
Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, the not a lot of people in Japan like take those every single day, so like they're seen as some like a kind of like a luxury good. And um, I was thinking like we could make that something that they demand in America, thinking that oh, it's a luxury good in Japan and it's amazing, like it's so innovative, and I thought that could be appealing to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that also goes into like the matcha idea. It's the idea of like selling the culture, and I feel like that could probably target like teenage audiences, like people that are trying to like try out new things and like fit in with like their fit in with society and like their norms and like listen to like what influencers are telling them. Oh, this is amazing and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Before I move on to a next, before we delve into more things from the original psychographic, let's unpack luxury. What is luxury in this case? Because I've heard the seaweed, or not seaweed, I've heard the sushi story, and actually it's a fascinating piece of history. But what does luxury mean in this instance? If we're bringing bentos as a luxury to the masses, what is luxury?
I mean, I'm thinking about this as like an economic standpoint, like a luxury good over like a normal good, and like well, like in economics, luxury goods like if you gain more income, like there's no need for you to like buy more of the luxury good because um like you really don't need it. And like I feel like that luxury standpoint can be also looked at as like a status symbol, even though like it's not tied into economics directly. Like people are like people crave what they don't have, and a lot of people like are gonna like want to like once they see this like innovative design of like a self-heating bento box that like they right now like I feel like they're gonna crave it.
So that's good. And I wrote that down. Um, I don't think I was clear. So allow me to restate my question in another way, with this time a little bit more context. Luxury is luxury because it does something to a high extent. For example, luxury handbags are seen as status symbols. They may not be the highest quality, but they have name brand recognition. That's what makes them luxury, is they are you're paying for the experience of being seen. However, you look at something else, woodworking tools. There are some brands that are hundreds of dollars for a single tool. It's not the name brand recognition there, though. It's not something that you immediately look at it and you say, oh, I have the luxury of being seen. In this case, it's the luxury of quality. Or if you've ever taken the if you've ever taken a private chartered plane or you've used a small airport, not like a state airport, you'll see that they have fast lanes for moving through TSA. It's already a small airport. It's already faster to go through TSA through there, but they might have even faster TSA that you pay for. So at that point, the luxury is paying for the convenience. When it comes to luxury, there's an additional trait or there's an additional quality, and it could be more than one quality that it has that makes it worth that extra money. So when you're saying bringing luxury to the masses, specifically bentos, you're saying that historically bentos have been seen as a luxury. It could be that there is a fiscal barrier. It could be that there is a time barrier. Bentos take time to make, and not everybody has that. Or maybe it's even a wisdom barrier. We do see that in some certain products where people aren't sure how to use them. We normally see this more in services. You could technically argue that investment help, like investment consulting or a management firm who's working on a hedge fund, you could technically consider that a luxury service if you're being kind of loose with the term luxury, because they're bringing with them wisdom and it's decreasing the amount of time and effort of thinking on your part. So to restate my question, if you're bringing bento as a luxury to the masses, if you're taking bento as a luxury and you're translating that, what does that mean?
So I may have misworded this earlier, but as like bringing in the luxury, I'm like referring to like the fact that it's self-heating, which isn't like if you translate bento to English, and literally just means lunchbox usually, and it's nothing really like big, and like you can make a bento at home, but like um as for the luxury, I was like thinking about like the self-heating part because like that part isn't offered in every single like lunchbox that everyone like takes, and like let's say like school kids that bring it to for their school lunch, and like um just regular like rice balls that you could buy in 7-Elevens in Japan. Like the luxury part is the self-heating part, so I feel like that's like our selling point to like wow, it heats itself up and it's warm when you eat it, so it's not mushy and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you an option. I can give you another guiding question, or I can just, at this point, tell you what I'm trying to get at with luxury. I'll let you choose.
You could tell me.
Okay, so you're bringing the luxury of convenience, and that is a luxury, and I think people forget that. Luxuries don't have to be expensive. Going to 7-Eleven and picking up food before you go to work. There's the luxury of convenience there. It's a cheap luxury, but it's a luxury. Your self-heating, that is one of the features that makes you convenient. it's also the fact that you say that you're being sold with food in the boxes. So it means that it's a guaranteed warm meal, basically, by the time you get to your job. You will in the future have to sort of break down how it's self-heating, but
We already figured that out.
yes.
It's not in the document, but we already figured it out.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Good job. So
Thank
we're, of course, gotta celebrate the little wins, right? DECA projects are a marathon, not a race.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing the luxury of convenience, that is going to help our target market. And you're saying, for example, teenagers. So maybe you position this as being a lunchbox that's offered at 7-Eleven. It's a little bit expensive because it comes with food, but then there's that luxury that they can bring a hot meal to school every single day. And this is probably restating what you're saying. I'm just trying to put it in different words that would make it easier for a judge to read at one second. I'm gonna write. I swear I can write ubiquitous the first time without getting a spelling error, but convenience, I swear. So with your I know, right? With your target market, the luxury that time-saving convenience, when we're in our drafting phase, or when we're in our brainstorming phase, it's okay to have long-winded explanations, but we do want to try to create these, you can kind of think of them as anchor points as we go. It'll help you later when you're trying to connect the pieces. If you've got cues, or if you've got things that you trot out again and again to help you summarize. And to me, I'm hearing it's the luxury of time-saving convenience. The warm food is great, because that's also talking about the luxury of quality. That'll be more useful later when you're looking at your budget, trying to determine how much you need to price this, what the cogs and everything are going to be. But I'm glad we got to that little part. Okay, questions, comments, concerns before we move on to a next guiding question.
I'm good.
Cool. So I think now that we've kind of built more on the side of what it brings, I want to jump back into target customers and get a little bit deeper. And more specifically, especially if you've already figured out how it works, that's a big part. So let's talk about some of this stuff. And I will actually encourage you to go through and write out your own answers, because you have access to the whiteboard. And we're gonna go a little bit in a wonky direction, okay? Most students start with demographics and psychographics, and then they move into geographics and behavioral. Do you need a refresher on the traits of behavioral graphics?
Sorry, you cut off for a bit. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, no problem. Do you remember the general behavior graphics, the most frequently used ones?
No. I think I need a refresher on that.
Okay, sure. Let me pull up like a chart real quick, because I know you're more of a visual learner. And there's one that I like using. Give me a second. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, it's not showing on the right one. Okay, that's fine. Here we go. I love this chart. I use this chart like all the time. I need to make my own, but where did it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Here we go. So, there's obviously more different types of behavioral segmentation and everything, but I want to start with the 4 on the left. Just because I feel like once you can answer these questions, you'll be able to kind of narrow it down from here. So, purchase, behavior, and I can send you this this link as well if you feel like to read it. It's a really cool one.
You can just screenshot it.
Well, yeah. Are you able to see my stream, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, perfect. Great. Oops. Where'd it go? Oh no! 1 second. I clicked out of the wrong thing. Oh, where did my whiteboard go? There we go. So for purchase behavior, this is pretty basic. This is how are they interacting with your brand to purchase? Is it online? Is it in person? Are they interacting with you frequently before they're purchasing? Are you thinking it's an impulse purchase? Do you have just spitball here? Any ideas? I'll take notes. Just spitball.
I mean, just like a convenience store. You just walk in, grab it off the shelf, and just buy it.
Okay. Let's build off of
Yeah.
that. Are you thinking like cheap stores, like gas stations, convenience stores? Are you thinking it would also be in retailers? Are you thinking, why are
I
they
was
there?
specifically thinking about like when you get past TSA at airports and then you see like just a bunch of like stores lined up like next to the gate, like Starbucks, stuff like that.
Okay. First of all, we're going to take a moment. We're going to celebrate. Yay! Great job. That is awesome. That's a fantastic detail. That it's when we get past TSA in airports. That is awesome. That's a location thing. That's a geographics thing. And we can add that to geographics. We might find it elsewhere too, but this is generally where you're looking. Good job. Virtual high five, man.
Yay.
Okay, more behavior graphics. So they're engaging with you in person. That's one of the ways that you could think about it. And you're selling it with food in the box. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
This kind of answers occasion and timing. But are you... Okay, I'm going to make an assumption here and correct me if I'm wrong. You're not a pop-up, but you buy shelf space.
Yes.
Good. That's something we have to consider for budget. So I'm going to make a note for you later. And their timing. So if you're on like the main strip of shops in an airport, this is open for everybody, for all class of, it's not like first class exclusive. It's not just business class.
No,
it's everybody.
everyone. Yeah.
Stop by. Okay, awesome. Good job. Let's talk about the benefits sought. This is kind of what we were looking at just beforehand. The luxury, convenience, time saving. When your customer walks into that, I don't know, that little convenience store in the shop, are they looking for a last minute meal? Are they somebody who's rushed? Are they perusing? Give me your thought process there.
This I was actually wondering about because, like, it does sell the convenience, but I feel like, if we like market it like well, then like it could lead to like people coming to search for a store for just to have the experience of having like the selfie boxes, and like at that point it wouldn't be convenience; it would be selling the product for like its selfie capabilities. So I wasn't actually sure.
That's a great... Okay, so I'm going to make a new sticky note for this. Wrong drag. I'm going to make a new sticky note right after here. And are you familiar with STP?
No,
Okay.
I know ATP. I don't think this is AP bar.
So, STP... Give me a second. I'm like trying to grab something on my end. So this is segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And what we're first going to be doing with this is we're kind of doing stage 1 right now, which is segmentation. Obviously, everything that we're brainstorming for target markets might change. But segmentation is just we're making sense of the market. And then targeting is we decide which customers will fit best. What you're kind of describing right now is a primary and a secondary, almost. And then once you have delineated between those, then you do the final P, which is positioning. And that's how we decide the marketing mix that would best appeal to primary and secondary. If you're talking about them entering the store just for the sake of getting that, like you already said, it's a reusable product. That means it's probably going to have to be a higher level of quality in order for it to be seen as safe, especially because, reused products, people do worry about that in terms of, am I going to get sick using this? Is it made out of plastic? Especially if you are, I'm going to restart that sentence. Your primary market, personally, I think will probably start with those people who are looking and they're discovering it entirely by accident. They're rushing through, they're looking for a meal. My guess is your secondary market will be either people who are going back and they're purchasing it again, or it's people who have heard about it, word of mouth, really positive. So I'm going to write that down, that in behavioral, Hallie is torn between people being rushed or seeking it out. And that's okay. This is drafting. And then customer loyalty, we can ignore that for now. But this right here already helps get this a lot on paper, and you can paste these directly into your notes. So kind of zooming in onto geographics. I know you're torn between this being an international and an independent business plan, and I'll save about 5 minutes at the end to give you my 2 cents on the matter. But beyond geographics, you're talking about airports. Are you thinking just major airports? Are you thinking just certain regions of airports? What's the thought process there? Anything?
Well, the meals are gonna have to they're gonna have to have time for them to eat the meals. So I think it's gonna be big domestic airports or just international airports.
Okay. Yeah, big domestic airports, that makes sense. In terms of, let's see, geographics, does it have anything to do with climate? Do you change the food served in these boxes depending on the local cuisine?
Yeah, I think that we're gonna do that, but we aren't really set on what type of cuisine we're gonna offer.
Okay. Honestly, for geographics, if you're doing airports, that's already super narrowed down just to start for brainstorming. So I think I'm going to move over to psychographics.
Actually, one more thing to add to the geographic. We were also thinking about just transit terminals in general too, maybe train stations and bus terminals, stuff like that too.
I like that idea a lot, actually.
Yeah.
So that's going to change it slightly. If you're doing transit in general, that means at least for that, these are going to be urban centers. Just to get the most bang for your buck at the very beginning, you're going to want to stick to those big urban centers. Because, New York City, one of the largest transit systems in America, it's going to have a lot of people coming in and out of it, so that would be useful. I think I'm actually not going to touch psychographics. I'm going to let you do that because that's motive. I can't edit your note for demographics. But do you have any ideas for demographics of what you want to appeal to for ages or anything?
Just urban, suburban.
Okay.
And just...
You can always come back to these. I was just wondering if you had any ideas. That's totally fine. I'll just go ahead and I will delete those so you can add your own notes later if you do decide to come back. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, we are at the 11:20 a.m. mark. So, questions, comments, concerns. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. This is going pretty well.
Awesome sauce. Are you ready for the not fun part?
Yep.
No, no, you're so fine. Don't worry. Okay, so, well, I would never tell you if you weren't fine anyway. We're talking about you want an 80 plus on an overall for your. Oop, I did not. You did not redact that, man. Okay, I'm glad I noticed that. That's okay. The next part is you are in a group project and your group members were not able to be here. I do have a transcript going in the background, so I'm going to make notes from that, and I will share the notes so that you can share them with your group.
Okay.
But let's talk about how you juggle it. Are you comfortable with me giving like 2 sentences of context for the viewers to understand why you and I are about to talk about group projects and how to balance them?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, so I worked with Hallie last season. Fun, always love seeing people return. And Hallie didn't have the best team ever. So this year, as one of my little mentoring objectives personally, is I want to help him better balance that. So, Hallie, obviously you're going to have to work with your group to make sure that they are okay with this. And everything will be adapted, and I'm totally okay with that. But I would like to establish some basic objectives that I think would be beneficial to your group. And I'm going to do these in a couple different categories. The first one is I'm going to do risk and quality management. From last year, that was the biggest problem that you were struggling with. So tackling that, focusing on this year. And then we're going to talk about splitting up work, how you do that in such a way that doesn't leave you overwhelmed and overcommitted. And then finally, we're just going to set some general objectives. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Cool. So, risk quality management. First things first, starting with the positives, you've already set up your SSOT, your single source of truth. That is awesome. And just for context to explain that, SSOT is single source of truth. It's basically like a giant file or somewhere you compile all of your data. Everything goes in there, all ideas. Good job, you've already set that up. I can't show it because it's not been redacted yet, but for risk and quality management, moving forward, I think the first thing your group should do is set up a plan of action. So this is a timeline, and more specifically, yes.
I actually did make something like that, but I forgot to add it to my thing. I'll just add the timeline in here. It's nothing big. I just had I just plugged it into ChatGPT asking for just an idea of how like I should break up time. So let me pull that up.
Yeah. I'm not going to pull it up on my screen because I don't want to reveal any personal information. But awesome. Thank you. I took that off the objectives. That's really great. Okay, then if you already have a plan of action, have you set up yet your risk variance? Your margin of error?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
I don't immediately trust ChatGPT to have the best schedule, so what I would honestly do is I'd like a 10% minimum of margin of error to all of your timelines and due dates and such. Though I will go through and I will check that out. I'm going to open that up really quickly on my separate monitor so that the
that
recording
one doesn't have anyone's name on it, so I think it has your name on it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Well, there were some comments left in your Menti file, which is what
Yeah.
I just because I can talk to you doesn't mean that your partner has yet consented to this. So I want to make sure that I'm just reviewing it in such a way that doesn't cause issues. Thank you. Oh, I can't access it because you're using a school account. That's okay.
Yeah,
You can send it
yeah,
later.
that's cool again.
Yeah.
I
So
I transferred it right now, so
that's totally
you
fine.
should be able to look at it now.
Yeah, that is totally fine. Tech issues are totally fine.
Okay, now it works.
Hey, this looks great. Oh, and I see we've got a section by
Courtesy
section
of
work
the
distribution.
desktop.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, the only thing I'm not seeing that I would like to see here, I'm going to take off splitting up work. You seem to have a pretty good handle on that. Ooh, my Discord is crashing. Risk and quality management, I'm not seeing as many times where you are collaborating as much. I do see under storyboarding, you've got for late August, early September, everyone collaboratively outlines the verbal flow of the presentation. Oh, sorry, that's using the written entry. Are you planning on having the written entry done, before August 20th? That's good to know. Okay, so I like that you have it set up so there is section by section work distribution. The biggest thing I will say, though, is I want to see some overlap. So
Yeah.
what I would do, because honestly, I think EIB fits your project, I would group your EIB section, group EIB sections in rubric, and assign someone to look over it. For example, let's say that I see that Amy and Roshan are both working on detailed financials, and it's you and Roshan who are working on detailed financials, and then Amy is working on cost structure. So maybe, for example, maybe we say that Roshan is looking at all financials. That's why I can't pipe. So he will be not only looking at detailed financials, but he'd also be looking at like cost structure, and he'd also look at conclusions. It looks like your work distribution is pretty evenly split up so that there is content overlap. But the reason why we do this is, I'm just gonna like make a little note so you can see what that was for, is it helps reduce redundancies later on because you're not all operating in an independent bubble. Additionally, if you have the time, I know you're busy, do you either bi-weekly or even just weekly or monthly read-throughs? I see that bunkers have helped you in the past. I think that doing a bi-weekly, weekly, monthly bunker would be super great. And additionally, I encourage you to do a whiteboard session. Discord is awesome. It's free. You don't all have to be like in person free or available during that time. You could just do a whiteboard session, and also whiteboard save for like 90 days, even without and it resets. So as long as you engage with it once every 90 days, it's not going to delete itself. So you can be working on it independently as well. I know that there are a lot of students who use Google Docs because it's what they're used to, but maybe that'll help accommodate anybody in your group if anyone's a more visual-based learner.
Yeah.
So, questions, comments, concerns, man? You're doing super great.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. I see that you're wanting to meet again with me for feedback in like later August. Do you want to set some basic objectives of what I think you should do next just to get started?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Cool. I think the biggest thing I want you to focus on is I want you to finish up your target markets. I think you're off to a great start. I am starting to see a clear delineation between primary and secondary market, maybe even the emergence of a tertiary. So get that figured out. Once you can figure out your target market, your rest of the project should start to unfurl. You've already figured out the hard part, which is what the heck are you going to do your project on. So, small victories. After your target markets, I would actually jump into basic budgets. I know that your project is requiring a detailed financials, so this is actually going to be congruent to cost structure. Especially if you're looking at this where it seems like one market is, the frazzled person who has just finished going through TSA and they just want a snack, or they just want a meal for the plane and they haven't thought about it, or it's those people who are actively seeking it out. To me, that elicits the idea of two separate cost structures, like one where it's a little bit of a higher quality item, the other where it's not.
Definitely.
It might change the marketing and such. So I think if you do those two to start, the rest of your project will be super helpful and super easy. Because channels, that's going to be determined by your market. Your solution, that's more feature and product based. So you can start brainstorming now, but as you understand your customer more, you're also going to understand what they need on a deeper level. So,
Okay.
all right. Final questions, comments, concerns.
I think I'm all good.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I did have one actually.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What's that?
Okay, so when I am working through these objectives, should I go straight into my Canva and like my draft of my document, or should I work on a separate document like a Google Docs or something and like write out my thoughts and then transfer it in like once I like finalize it more?
As long as everything is linked into your SSOT, you can do whatever works best for you. I personally would not go immediately into your draft. I feel like last year that's one of those issues you ran into where you just went straight into design and you kind of got lost in the weeds a little bit. So
Okay.
I would recommend maybe stick to bullet points first. Don't make it design heavy at all.
Okay.
You're gonna get distracted.
Yeah. All right, sounds good.
All right.
All right,
Thank you for letting me record the session. I'm going to upload it to my Google Drive and then I'm going to share it to you. And
Yay.
if you'll please read it or watch through just all the way and let me know if you're comfortable with me uploading it. That way, if there's anything that I reveal that you're not comfortable with, we can scrap it and that's totally fine.
Yep.
All right.
Good refresher too.
Yep. And then I will send those meeting transcripts over. I have this document, this whiteboard. If you're wanting to save it, you can share it as an image.
Okay.
And yeah, sounds good?
Perfect.
All right. You have a wonderful rest of your day, Hallie. Bye.
Yeah, I had one question actually though.
I'm so sorry.
What are you using to record this?
I'm just using like the Mac QuickTime editor or QuickTime player or whatever it's called. It's just the default system thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because I need to figure out a way how to record my screen. So.
Yeah.
Alright.
I think Windows has a
you.
different one,
And-
but yeah.
Oh, okay. The Mac looks better. Okay, bye-bye. Thank
Alright.
you.
Bye-bye.